Hey, what's going on, guys? So this is kind of a first impressions video for Reach on MCC and PC, and I did want to record this the day after the game launched, but I decided maybe I should spend a little more time with the game. I should also play it on Xbox as well as PC, which I have done now, so here we are like 3 days later, and I feel like I'm a little more qualified to give my opinion on this game and how I feel about everything. So, my initial thoughts on launch day, which I played for 13 hours straight on PC with a controller on day one, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I was having a lot of fun. It felt great. It looked great. A big thing for me going in that I was skeptical about was how's the hit detection going to be compared to Halo 3 on MCC, and the hit detection for me has been amazing. It's been great, next to perfect. I do get a few blood shots here and there. Sometimes a DMR shot doesn't register here or there, but overall it's been great, and it's definitely been a lot better than my experience playing Halo 3 MCC, because on there I can't get anything direct. I mean, it's hard for me to get into a BR battle on Halo 3 MCC and have every single bullet register. That's pretty rare. It's always at least one or two bullets. Sometimes it's 3 full bursts that don't register, and then that same person that I'm shooting at is shooting back at me, and all his bullets are doing damage. And that's pretty much my non-stop experience on Halo 3 MCC. The hit detection is just so awful, and I know it's not for everyone. It's not. There's some people out there who are lucky, I guess you could say, and don't have as many problems. But from my experience with Halo 3 on MCC, it's just been terrible. The game has problems on LAN. It's just the hit detection and all the other bullshit in that game. It's just a mess. But this isn't about Halo 3 on MCC. This is about Reach. First thing I kind of wanted to touch on was the whole like mouse and keyboard versus controller debate. You know, mouse and keyboard players complaining about controller, complaining about aim assist. That's been a big thing. And then of course you had some people saying mouse and keyboard players are going to destroy controller players. And for the most part, everything turned out how I expected it. Controller players are dominating right now on Reach PC for the most part. And it's not because controller is superior than mouse and keyboard. It's not that mouse and keyboard is at a disadvantage. It's not the aim assist on the controller. There's plenty of modern FPS games that give controllers aim assist on PC. It's just the fact that Halo has primarily been a console FPS that people have been playing for years and years and years with a controller. So those same people are coming over to Reach PC, and they're bringing their controller and all their skill that they've built up over the years with them. That's what it is. It's not controllers are overpowered. I don't know where this whole overpowered controller thing is coming from. It's just so funny. It's just so funny because like it's always been mouse and keyboard is better. It's superior in every way, and now all of a sudden, oh, controller is OP because of aim assist. Like, get out of here with that. It's not the aim assist. I can promise you that. And you know, I've noticed that people who like to point out the aim assist on controllers and call that an advantage, they neglect to acknowledge all the advantages that mouse and keyboard players have. For one, you have more control. You're aiming with your hand instead of your dinky little thumb on a joystick. Right? So it's much easier to do things like no scope, keep that reticle steady on a player at longer ranges. And that's another thing. You don't even get aim assist with a controller at longer ranges. So aim assist isn't even a factor in that case. Also with mouse and keyboard, you can rebind all your keys and buttons however you see fit. And another thing, a huge thing, is you could turn around so much faster with a mouse. So much faster than you can ever do with a controller. On mouse and keyboard, you even have an advantage with turning speed in vehicles. On controller, your sensitivity does not affect your vehicle sensitivity. You can jack your sensitivity all the way up to 10. That doesn't change your turning sensitivity in a vehicle when using a controller, but on a mouse and keyboard, it does. You can spin around so fast in a Banshee and a Wraith with a mouse and keyboard, which I kind of don't think you should do. I kind of don't think you should be able to do that. because, you know, that's one of the, like, drawbacks of a Wraith, that it moves slow, it turns slow, and Bungie always had it so that your sensitivity in game never affected your sensitivity in a vehicle. So I kind of feel like it should be the same way for mouse and keyboard. But hey, guess what? I ain't complaining. I'm dealing with it. I'm cool with it. Whether you're using mouse and keyboard or a controller, one device is not better than the other. But one player might be better than the other. That's what it's about. It's player skill. It doesn't matter about what device you're using, whether it's a controller or a mouse and keyboard. And another thing, we talk about aiming and how, like, aim assist, how easy it is to aim with controller, or the advantages of aiming with a mouse and keyboard. There is so much more that goes into Halo besides aiming. There's map control, how you move around the map, timing power weapons, knowing good spots to throw grenades, teamwork and team shotting, and knowing spawns. There's so much more that goes into it than just aiming and shooting. And the people who have been playing Halo for the last 10 plus years on console with a controller are the people who have built up that skill and knowledge in all those different areas. It makes complete sense that controller players are dominating on Reach PC. And if you're someone who thinks controller players shouldn't get aim assist because they're on PC, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. The reason controllers have aim assist is so aiming doesn't feel terrible. It makes it a viable option. And I agree that mouse and keyboard is way better than a controller without aim assist. I won't fight you on that. That is true. But giving controllers aim assist just allows them to compete. And also, that's one of the perks of having the game on PC, is you can play with whatever you want. You shouldn't have aiming on a controller feel like shit by taking the aim assist away. That wouldn't make any sense, especially because this is Halo, which has primarily been a console game. Controller aim should always feel great on Halo. So overall, I've been really enjoying Halo Reach on MCC, but there have been a few issues that I've ran into, as well as a few issues that others have experienced that I personally haven't, and we're going to touch on all them right now. So the first one being, if you've played the TU settings for Reach, and you've played a flag game type, you might have noticed that when you drop the flag, there's a little delay before you can pick it up again. You have to wait, there's like a cooldown. You have to wait like a second or two. And this was implemented into OG Reach back in the day to prevent flag juggling for whatever reason. But here's the thing, it doesn't actually prevent flag juggling. You can still juggle the flag, you just have to throw it a little bit further ahead of you, which is not difficult to do at all. So that little cooldown doesn't do what it was intended to. It doesn't prevent flag juggling, it's just annoying, because sometimes you'll try to pick it up and it'll still be on that cooldown and you'll walk past it, you'll have to turn around and grab it again and then continue to run the flag. So it's really just annoying because you can still flag juggle. So that's one thing that I've had an issue with. Another thing would be the push to talk. In the last Halo Reach flight, there was no push to talk in the game. A lot of people were upset with this, myself included, because everyone was just hot micing. Nobody could mute their mic because there was no push to talk or anything. Well, now now that the game's fully released, we do have push to talk, but you can't turn it off. And the key for push to talk is V, and you can't rebind it. So you can't turn it off and you can't rebind it. So really, if you're playing with a controller, you're pretty much screwed. Because yeah, you could reach over and hit V, but that's taking one of your hands off the controller. And also, once you hit a key on the keyboard, the game thinks you're using a keyboard now. So all your inputs on your controller are unresponsive for like a couple seconds. Communication is huge in Halo. So it's a pretty big deal not to be able to communicate with teammates. So that's actually a really big problem I have, because I was talking in game chat during the last Reach flight, which is something I haven't done in years, and I was really enjoying it. And now I can't do it now. So there needs to be an option to turn push to talk off. I don't know why we went from one extreme to the next, from no push to talk to push to talk that can't be turned off now. It's push to talk. I know I'm not a game designer, but how difficult can it be? Come on. Another thing that I was just recently made aware of with this update for Reach coming to MCC was screenshots. You can no longer take screenshots on MCC. All your screenshots that you have previously took are gone unless you can access them on Halo Waypoint or something like that. I'm not sure. You can no longer take screenshots on MCC, and I'm kind of confused by this. I don't really know what to say. I was kind of shocked when I heard that. I don't understand. But yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, theater continues to get the shaft and get worse over the years. I don't know why it was the best in Halo 3, a 12, 13-year-old game. I don't even know anymore. Now, those are my main complaints about the game, but I have heard others report certain issues that I personally haven't experienced. First thing being stuttering, where the game, it freezes for like a split second while you're playing. I've heard people experiencing this on PC. I don't know about console, and I did experience this myself just a little bit, but like, I mean, I'm talking like 3 stutters in a 13-hour session of playing the game. So that's not too terrible. Another thing is input lag, and yeah, this one's a tricky one because I honestly think there's a ton of different variables that affect how much input lag you're experiencing. Because during I don't know about now with the game being fully released, but during the last Halo Reach flight, I was playing on a 144 Hz monitor, and the aiming felt smooth as could be. It felt so responsive. And I switched monitors at one point to a 60 Hz monitor, and the input lag was unbearable. I'm talking like, get up and walk away because you can't play on this. It was that bad, like on this 60 Hz monitor. And it wasn't just bad because I was coming from playing on a 144 Hz to a 60. It wasn't that. It was just the input lag was really just that bad. Like, you would look to the right and you have to wait for your reticle to catch up. It was terrible. So I do think there's a lot of different things here that have an influence on how much input delay you're actually experiencing. And when it comes to hit detection, I have heard some complaints by a few people about the hit detection being really bad. Like I said, I've had a couple questionable things here or there happen in-game regarding shot registration, but overall, from my experience, it's been great. It's been phenomenal, and it's definitely been a lot better than my experience with Halo 3 on MCC. And, you know, the whole thing with hit detection, you would think everybody would have a similar experience with their bullets registering, but for whatever reason, that's not the case. Some people don't seem to have a problem, and other people can't seem to get a bullet to register on Halo 3 MCC, and that might be the case here. But in this case, I might finally be one of the lucky ones where the shot registration is good. On Halo 3 on MCC, I am not one of the lucky ones. I'm one of the ones where I can't get a shot to register. Every single game, I am losing to players I know I'm better than because I can't get a bullet to register. And I'm not one to make excuses, I'm not, but I'd be doing myself a disservice if I put them losses on me. Because when I have 3 full bursts in a row, not register on somebody, and then they 4-shot me in return, I know that's not my fault. And then when they pick up rockets and snipe off my ex because they killed me because my shots wouldn't work, and now they're spawn killing me with power weapons for the next 10 kills, all because my shots didn't. I gotta come down. Shot reg for me has been great in so far on Reach MCC. It's been better on Reach PC. I did have like a few. I had more blood shots on when I played on Xbox Reach. Now, another thing that I've really been wanting to address that I've been seeing is people not fully understanding why everyone's so excited for Reach. Reach was terrible. Reach killed Halo. Reach was the beginning of the end for Halo. Reach was a terrible game. Why is everyone so excited for Halo Reach? We should just keep playing Halo 3. Halo Reach is awful. Well, first off, Halo 3 is only better if it actually functions properly. And I don't know if the people saying these things are the people who do get lucky on Halo 3 MCC and don't have a problem and don't get bullshitted nonstop. Maybe that's the case. But there's people like me and a lot of others where the game is almost literally unplayable. So yeah, Halo 3 is only better if it actually functions properly. And for me personally, I'm going from Halo 3 MCC where nothing worked to Reach PC and all my shots are registering. So of course I'm going to be more excited to play Reach PC. And that's why I was excited before I even played it, because I was hoping that the shot reg would be good. That was my main concern. That's what I wanted. I wanted the hit detection to be great. That's what I wanted the most. And for me, it has been. And I'm not saying, oh, it's good for me, so fuck everybody else, who cares? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that for me, I'm going to choose the game where my bullets work over the game where they're just not registering non-stop every single game. And a good amount of the excitement that you're seeing for Reach PC isn't about Reach. That's not what it's about for everybody. For a lot of people, it's just Halo on PC, a legitimate Halo game on PC. That it opens the door to a whole new player base. We get mods, new options like FOV sliders. We can center our crosshair, things like that. Play at higher FPS. That's where a lot of the excitement is coming from, because it's on PC. It could be Halo 1, 2, 3, even 4. I'm sure people would be excited about just because it's coming to PC. Shit, with mods, you could turn Reach into Halo 3 on PC. But Halo Reach, as a Halo game, my opinions have changed on it over the years, and I made a whole video about this, but briefly I'll just go over that right now. Halo 4 and 5 were so much worse than Reach. They were so much worse, so it made Reach seem not as bad. And I'm not saying that, nope, Halo Reach is a great game because Halo 4 and 5 are worse. No, I just appreciate Reach more now after playing Halo 4 and 5. And Reach, there's still fun to be had in that game, even with all the stupid, crappy elements that were added to the game, like armor abilities and bloom and things like that. And Reach does still feel like a Halo game. It just feels like Halo with shitty mechanics thrown into the mix. That's kind of how it is. But Halo 4 and 5, those games don't feel like Halo at all. They're just too far gone. They don't feel like Halo, they don't look like Halo, they don't sound like Halo, but Halo Reach still has some Halo in it. And you also gotta remember that Halo Reach has seen many changes and updates over the years, so it's no longer the same game that we got at launch. We got the TU settings, yeah, there's still abilities and bloom in it, but it's reduced bloom, so that's better, still better than 100%. But the really great thing is the zero bloom, no sprint settings. Those settings, with those maps, that is a great experience. I really enjoy zero bloom, no sprint Reach. Like, I'm not saying that's just good for Reach, I'm saying that's good compared to all the Halos. I'm not saying it's better than Halo 1, 2, or 3, you know, don't get me wrong, but it's still really, really good. And the final things I want to discuss in this video are in regards to the armor unlock system, or the battle pass, and the progression system. Now, I'll admit, these two systems are a little plain and stale. They're missing something. They're not the best I've ever seen in any game ever, no. But people are criticizing it like this is like a new game or something. Like this is Halo Infinite's battle pass and progression system. No, if this was Halo, if those systems were in Halo Infinite, then yeah, I'd have a big problem with them too. But you gotta remember that this is MCC, and this game's been out for what, close to 5 years, or maybe it has been 5 years now. And sure, maybe those things should have been there at launch, but they weren't. They weren't. And here we are 5 years later, and 343 did not have to put them in the game. They didn't have to do that. They could have just given us all the armor unlocked and no progression system, and people still would have been excited and be playing this game right now without those things. And I just don't see those systems as low effort from 343. If anything, I see it as them going the extra mile. I see them giving us something to work towards with the progression system and giving us a unique, somewhat satisfying way of unlocking armor. Even if, and yeah, you could say it's not satisfying at all, but it's more satisfying than if they just gave us all the armor unlocked. And I want to close this video out with a question. Would you rather 343 have not implemented a progression system or a battle pass into the game? Or would you prefer to have it in their current state? Yeah, it's so easy to say, oh, we want more, more, more. Oh, this should be better, that should be better. But we gotta keep things in perspective here. Like, this game has been out for 5 years and it's getting a progression system. Like, that's great in itself. Even if it is a very simple, plain system, it's still incredible that we have that now in MCC. I never would have thought in a million years, 5 years ago, that this game would finally get a progression system. Okay, maybe it's not that unbelievable, but it is still pretty cool to see. And like I said with the Battle Pass, they could have just given us all the armor unlocked, like they did with Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo 2 Anniversary on MCC. They could have not put in a Battle Pass in the game, and yeah, some people would have been upset with that, but they wouldn't have been getting a ton of backlash for it. You know, most people would just accept it. They'd be bummed out. They'd be like, damn, this sucks that we have all the armor unlocked. We don't have to work for it. But, you know, whatever. And they'd move on. Like, here's an example. Let's say tomorrow 343 added a DMR skin to Halo Reach. Just one DMR skin, and let's say the appearance of it is nothing special. It doesn't look too great. Well, would people be excited about that? Grateful that at least we got a skin? Like, that's cool. Hey, we got this. Or would people be upset with it? They'd criticize it. They'd be, oh, we only got one skin? Oh, and this is the way it looks? This is awful. What are you guys doing? Like, because something like that, like a skin, like that's something that's extra, right? That's not in the game. That's not something, the game's been out for 5 years. We don't have skins besides for like Halo 4, but that's something we wouldn't expect. If they decided to just do that, give us a skin out of nowhere for a DMR or whatever weapon, or whatever it may be, something extra, anything extra, something out of the blue like that, does it need to be perfect for you to be okay with it in the game? Or will you just, take what you can get? And I'm not talking about like big aspects of a game, right? I'm not saying like, oh, if Halo Infinite, would you rather Halo Infinite launch with a broken firefight mode or no firefight mode at all? No, that's like a staple for Halo. The campaign, the firefight, the matchmaking, custom games, theater, Forge, all those core aspects of the game. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that are extra. If they put in like a whole extra mode that we never seen coming, and it wasn't the best, right? It didn't play the best. Would we be okay with that? Or would you give 343 a ton of hate for putting it in the game, when they could have just left it out of the game and not gotten any hate at all? But in my opinion, I see them adding a battle pass and a progression system as them going the extra mile. And you might feel like, hey, they owed us those things. We deserve that, right? You might feel that way, and I guess I can see that too. MCC's original launch was a disaster. It was awful. But I mean, how long are we gonna hold that over their head? I'm not saying they're off the hook. I'm not saying they're just the best company in the world. I'm just saying, like, I mean, when does it end? What do they have to do to regain the trust of some people? I don't know. Like, on launch day for Reach PC, I seen some people ripping this game apart, acting as if this was like the original MCC launch all over again. Look, there's so many problems with the game. But in reality, to these people, it never really mattered if Reach's MCC PC launch was smooth or flawed. None of that ever mattered. They were going to hate on it regardless. They're always going to find a way to hate on 343. That's what they live by. Fuck 343. Fuck 343. It doesn't matter what good they do. They will always pick out all the flaws. They will always criticize. There's some people like that out there. There's others like myself that'll give 343 credit where credit is due, but we also won't hesitate to point out when they fuck up. So I want to make that clear. Don't group me with the blind 343 haters, like, because they do exist. They definitely exist. Overall, this launch for Reach on MCC and PC was pretty smooth. Yeah, there were a few hiccups along the way, some people ran into a few issues, but these are issues you could run into with any game launch. And another thing that's not so much an issue, but is something that me and many others have been disappointed about, is no Forge and Theater at launch for Reach PC. Now, yeah, you can actually access these features by going into the game files and messing with a few things, but on the default game, just loading it up without messing with anything, those features are not there, and they're going to be coming later. And I understand that they want to improve the controls for Forge and Theater when using a mouse and keyboard before they give everybody access to it. I understand that. They don't want mouse and keyboard players using Forge and Theater with crappy controls. Because with like a keyboard, you can only move like really one set speed. You know, if you press the W key, you're moving max speed in a forward direction. If you wanted to, you'd kind of have to, tap the key if you kind of wanted to move slowly, I guess, but then you're just kind of doing like a stutter step, really. With like a controller, you could slightly move the analog stick in whatever direction. You can get like a slower movement. In something like Theater, you can play clips in slow-mo by slightly holding down the right trigger, or you can hold it in all the way and make it go and speed it up. So I do get where they would need to refine some of the controls for mouse and keyboard players, but at the same time, like Forge and Theater, that's, especially Forge, that's a huge part of the game. Do we really want to, is it really that a smart decision to hold that until you make these controls the best they can be? Is that the best option, or should you give us Forge and Theater at launch and have it feel good on controller and just okay on mouse and keyboard? Like, I get 343 and a lot of people in the community, they wanted this game to launch like perfect. They wanted it to have everything that a PC player would expect, but at some point, I mean, you gotta ask yourself, is it worth the wait? Is it worth the wait? Like with this whole Forge thing, is it really worth not giving us access to Forge at launch to refine the controls with mouse and keyboard? Because you could still play Forge with mouse and keyboard. You can access Forge if you go in the files, and you can play it with mouse and keyboard. And then you can also play it with controller. So honestly, I feel them not releasing this game with Forge was kind of a mistake. But we are going to get it in the future, and like I said, you can still access it right now, which is kind of weird, so I guess that's better than nothing. Well, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'm really curious to see what some of you have to say in response to a lot of the things I talked about throughout this video. So please leave a comment, and yeah, I will see you on the next one. Also, let me know, have you been enjoying Reach so far, or are you playing on PC or Xbox? I would really want to know that too. Are you a PC guy or an Xbox guy? I'm really curious. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you on the next one, guys. I also stream, and the link to that is in the description if you want to follow or don't follow, or just, do whatever you want. Whatever. All right, see you guys.